Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. I'm extremely excited to be joined by Asjad from Cricket for Us 2.0. And as you can probably tell from the banner, we're going to be discussing the West Indies versus Pakistan first test review. And the reason why we don't have any people from the West Indies on here is because I don't want them gloating because they just won by 1 wicket in a very tight affair. Asjad, I guess, before we get into the nitty gritty of the test match, what were your initial feelings? I think is probably the biggest thing.
Pakistan should have won that match. Pakistan did not start off the best on day 4, losing Babar Azam very early. Hassan Ali, yes, came and scored, 28 of 26 or worse to that effect. And then from that point, he got out and Pakistan were, bowled out for less than 200 and or around 200, sorry. And West Indies had to chase 168. And even then, Pakistan put up a good fight with the ball. You have to realize that Pakistan did not go for the killer blow, as you know, a lot of teams do, like India did against England yesterday, right? They kept pushing hard, they kept being aggressive and not drop catches. The two things Pakistan did wrong or did badly on Sunday was the fact that they dropped catches and they became a bit too relaxed after getting West Indies, 120 for 7 or 140 for 7, something like that. And Pakistan was like, yeah, okay, we could get their next 3 out. Well, no, you can't, because it's not as easy as it looks. And that decision from Babar Azam to bring in Fahim Ashraf when Shaheen was on point, and they're like, oh, let's bring in Fahim Ashraf, rather than bringing Hassan Ali in, who's been a lot more aggressive. Yasir Shah bowled 3 overs in the final innings when it was a pretty decent spinning track. Like, if he was bowling properly, if he was bowling longer spells, you'll notice that this was a spinning pitch. But he didn't get the opportunity. He bowled 3 overs, got hit for 13 runs, and then never bowled again. Fahim Ashraf bowled more than the main leg spinner that Pakistan has, and that's why there's been a lot of talk about, Numan Ali, bring him back. He's took 5 wickets, scored almost 100, and Pakistan just dropped him and stuck with Yasir Shah because Yasir Shah got a 5 for the last time they toured West Indies. So yeah, it's just some of those decisions that weren't the greatest. Otherwise, Pakistan showed heart, Pakistan showed fight, but West Indies just hung in there a lot longer. And Kemar Roach, what did he get, 40 or something? Kemar Roach.
Yeah, like he got 30. He got 30 not out. 52 not out. Balls. Yeah,
exactly. So he was very good. He was dropped a couple of times, but in the end, that doesn't matter. The end result counts, and they got through it. And Pakistan, right? To be honest, I think the right team won, with Pakistan, dropping catches and some of the captaincy decisions that Babar Azam made. Otherwise, the batting's gonna be weak anyway. We know the openers aren't very good, right? Imran Butt is a great slip catcher, but doesn't know how to bat. Abid Ali, I know I'm going into a monologue, but I'm going to continue, right?
No, actually, let me stop you there. The reason why is because before you get into the monologue, is I think there seems to be an overarching thing that let's dive into it first, which is the team selection and maybe decisions about bowling and who's bowling and why. So one of the biggest things that you mentioned obviously was Yasir Shah not getting many overs, and Numan Ali, who performed really well in the test matches he's played in his career so far, but has performed well with the ball, which is the most important thing because that's why he's in the team, but also he has contributed with the bat as well. But if we go through the Pakistan lineup, then that's where I want to start off really, is because before we get into where the game was won and lost, I think part of it sounds like for you as well, is also maybe in the selection or how people are utilized. So Abid Ali, obviously we know, and Imran, but you've rightfully said, haven't been the best partnership, let's say, for Pakistan. Imran, but I think he's taken 30 catches in 10 matches or something. He averages 3 catches a match. 15 and 5. It was 15 and 5, yeah. So 15 and 5, which is pretty, very impressive, to be honest with you. He's a very, very good fielder. But despite, I think, the modern day, which, let's be honest, there is a lot of emphasis on fielding, which that's fine. Rightfully, there should be. I think his primary role is still to bat, right, and get runs. So they're an interesting little predicament there, I guess, and who comes in. Azhar Ali, I think, is going to stay there because, he's got credits in the bank, let's be honest. And also, he wasn't, 17 and 23, like not horrendous, but
that 17 was so slow. He did not look like a guy who could bat out there, to be honest. I was surprised he didn't get out like 3 times within those 17 runs. He just didn't find it easy to bat on this track. That's the thing. But yes, he's got a lot more credit in the bank, as you put it.
But I think sometimes, right, maybe it's the case of like I know anyway from maybe not from personal experience. I've never played a test match, but from people who going to different countries and they're playing in very different conditions, it does take a batsman a bit of time to get used to them. So that's why you'll see sometimes an Azrari, for example, in the first innings, he will look like he's scratching around because he just is not able to find the timing yet. And maybe in the second one, still obviously I think he got 20 odd. Wasn't sublime or anything, but I think he looked less scratchy than he was in that first one, first innings even. And then obviously you've got the usual suspects. Like Bob Razum's going to stay in there, captain. We know that. Good 50. We'll just discuss, I think, as well. I think he's got a real tendency to lapse in concentration when there's a break in play from rain or day's play. So, and obviously that did hurt us, but similar to the Joe Root syndrome that England have got, you can't rely on one player. So I think, that's something that Pakistan have got a similar thing at the moment with Bob Razum. Fard Alam has been scoring runs, scored a 50 as well. So like he's playing his place even, is not in jeopardy. And Fahim Ashraf, obviously, as all-rounder. So I guess this is where we kind of go from Fahim Ashraf down to Shaheen Afridi. Now, Shaheen Afridi's in there as a certain. Bowled really well, we know that. And like he's a certain to be in there. Mohammad Abbas obviously got a few wickets. Hassan Ali, I think, as well. But maybe the two spots that are more contentious, maybe the openers as well. So I guess where we're really going to fall upon is the openers, Fahim Ashraf and Yasir Shah. Is that fair to say?
I wouldn't put Fahim Ashraf in the same bracket. The reason why, because over the past 8-9 months, he's actually been pretty good with the bat in Test cricket. So I wouldn't put him in the same bracket. I actually would put Mohammad Abbas in there, which is surprising, considering he took quite a few wickets in the first innings. But later on in that second innings, he wasn't as effective as someone like Shaheen or Hassan Ali or even Fahim Ashraf to an extent. In the end, I would say the opener is 100% Yasir Shah for sure. But it's a toss-up between maybe Abbas, maybe Ashraf. Who do you kind of keep out? Because if Pakistan's taken Shahnawaz Dahani, if Pakistan's taken Noman Ali, there's a reason why they've taken those guys, because they had a feeling that maybe we need these guys, right? Maybe we need these types of players as well. And there's going to be a strong media push in Pakistan to say, why is this guy playing? Play this guy, play this guy. And most probably Pakistan will play the team that the media wants them to play. And that's not the right way to go about things. If Pakistan believe that Yasir Shah is the best spinner Pakistan has, they should try and, back that player up. Even though I don't think so. I'm just saying from a Pakistan standpoint, they should be a bit more stubborn about the decisions. If they think this is how it's going to be, then they follow that train of thought. If it's Mohammad Abbas they want to stick with, then they stick with Abbas and not consider a young player like Dahani in the side, or Mohammad Wasim Jr., or even Haris Strove, any of those young bowlers into the side. Naseem Shah is still there. I don't know why Naseem Shah's there. Naseem Shah needs so much first-class cricket. Like he needs so much experience that they've just thought, oh no, we'll just keep him in the locker room or keep him as a sub or whatever they're going to keep him as. And it's not going to help him. It's not going to help his career whatsoever. And he's going to turn into a player like Bilal Bhatti. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, right? Or Bilal Asif. Played a few games, and then stayed with the squad and then just disappeared out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. So, yes, those four players in a long-winded way, yes, probably those guys that we have to consider speaking about. And there's a topic I want to ask you actually, Fazan.
Yeah.
Do you think Azhar Ali has the option to actually open up in Test cricket, open up with Abid Ali rather than having Imran Butt in there or Abdullah Shafiq as an option? Why not take Azhar Ali, put him up in the order, right? Bring Saud Shakil in, give Pakistan some sort of extra stability in that middle order. We've seen him in the ODIs. He can stay out there for a long period of time. That was a very, very slow 50 that he made in that ODI, but that shows that he has some sort of grit. So I think those types of tough calls need to be taken from the Pakistani standpoint, and just have Imran Butt as a substitute fielder. All right, you can take a player off and say, "Come on in, for now, just field here at slip, take a few catches, and then go off the field." And
poor guy, he's gonna be what Paul Collingwood used to be for England before he broke into it. Yeah, but you know what though, it's interesting. Like Imran Butt does seem to show some promise with the bat, but I agree with you. Like he is running out, I think, of time. It's only been 5 Test matches, but for an opener as well, I don't know. Like it's been pretty poor returns. Well, very poor returns, unfortunately for him. The Azhar Ali suggestion is an interesting one because I think that's been toyed with, hasn't it, for quite some time. Can we put Azarali into the opening spot? But then the issue always was, well, who do you put at 3? Because we don't want Babar Azam at 3 because we want to protect him. Obviously, in test matches, similar how Joe Root doesn't want to bat at 3. Same as how Virat Kohli doesn't want to bat at 3, right? They've got Pujara there, or they've got whatever, Crawley, Himi, whatever, right? England have got, they don't know who their number 3 is either. But we could have, I agree, like Sol Shakil, why not? I mean, could it really go any worse? I mean, I think Pakistan, if we have a look at the opening stands, so we had 21 and 1. Abdali got 34 in the second innings, and I mean, Imran got 11, but it doesn't really mean much, does it? Let's be honest, and got a duck. So I think, yeah, I mean, I don't see why they can't try it out. I don't see why not. I think Saad Shakil, as you said, showed some promise. He clearly has some good red ball temperament. I think he showed it domestically as well. So, and Imran Butt is still young enough that he can come again. So if they do, as you said, want to keep him as a specialist fielder, that's fine. But and I guess maybe he'll be around the squad still. He'll still be netting with them. He'll still be able to work on his game. And maybe there's less pressure on him there to then say, well, look, we will look. Because let's be honest, Azrari's what, 34? 36, yeah. And Abdali is in his mid-30s as well, isn't he? Or 34?
Early 30s.
Yeah, 33, 34. So they're not going to be around forever, especially Azarali. Like, although in saying that, I don't know, because Misbah and Yunus can't play until like 40 odd. So you never know, do you? But realistically, I can't see Azarali staying until that long. So we may as well get the most out of him. I think he's got a very good average opening up. I think it's something ridiculous. Like, he averages, I think, 50 plus opening.
Yeah, he does opening up. Yeah.
So clearly he does have the aptitude to do it. He hasn't done it for a very long time, so that could be an issue. Just a small teething phase for a few matches, but why not try it out? And I think that kind of then lands us nicely. You touched upon the bowlers. Naseem Shah, I mean, I think no point even talking about that because I agree with you. I think he should be in domestic cricket. Why is he not, for example, playing in the KPL? Why not? May as well be.
Yeah.
So it's unless the Pakistan team have something very specific they want to work with him on, on a very consistent basis, and the only way they can do that is by him being with the touring side, then fine. So we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But if not, if it's just you're there to make up the numbers, you'll hear his cover, go in the nets, bowl, okay, like a few, he's treated as everyone else, and it's not really helping his development, then he shouldn't be there. And I think match practice is the only way he's going to get better. So I don't see why he's there. But yeah, I guess less said about that, the better. Yasir Shah, then what's your take on it? Because Yasir Shah, right? I used to be a big fan of Yasir Shah. You weren't a big fan of Yasir Shah, I remember. We've had many a debate on it. But I think, I was happy to concede that Naman Ali has bowled very well since he's come in. And if someone bowls that well and Yasir Shah was injured, then I think, it's a bit harsh to drop him, right? So what's your take on it? Do you think Naman Ali should be playing, or do you think they should stick with Yasir Shah for the rest of the series?
If it were up to me, I wouldn't have played Yasir Shah in the first game either. I would have gone with, if I was to play Yasir Shah, I would play Naman Ali with him, or I would say there's no Yasir Shah, I play just Naman Ali as the one spinner that Pakistan has. He's performed well. Yes, South Africa and, Zimbabwe, whatever teams they played against, that doesn't matter. His performances actually matter a lot more just because of the match practice that he's had. And yes, as you correctly pointed out, Yasir Shah was injured and he should have been practicing a lot more. Maybe that's the thing. And we've noticed since Pakistan started playing cricket in Pakistan, his numbers have diminished. He has one good series every year or something like that, or one good test match every 6, 7 test matches. And that's not good for Pakistan. Pakistan needs someone who's a lot more consistent. Naman Ali, I'm just going to quickly check if I can, how many matches Naman Ali's actually played for Pakistan, because
I'm going to guess he has played 5, I want to say.
Right, 4 test matches.
Oh,
he's taken 16 wickets in those 4 test matches, 1 fifer and 1 4-wicket haul. All right.
Not bad going, is it?
Yeah, not bad at all. And he scored an almost 50 and an almost 100.
But he got 97, didn't he?
97. Yeah, he got 97. Yeah. And Yasir Shah, with the bat or with the ball, hasn't been that consistent in his past, let's say, 6 test matches. The last time he batted well was in Australia. The last time he probably bowled well.
What, 100?
And the last time he bowled well was England last year in one of those games. That was the last time Yasir Shah actually bowled well. If you look at his average or look at his economy was about 4 for that entire England series. And his average was sky high because he just kept getting hit for runs. He was going for, 150 runs, and then you pick up 3 wickets. That's not ideal. Even if it is a leg spinner, you need some sort of control. And that's where I think Yasir Shah loses his place and Nouman Ali kind of fits in for me.
Yeah, I actually begrudgingly would agree because, I love a leg spinner, but I think Yasir Shah has... I don't want to be harsh and say that he is declining, but I think he is a little bit, to be honest with you. I think his confidence isn't as high as it used to be. I think his consistency isn't quite there. Maybe it's been hampered by injuries. Maybe if he did have a string of games, like, he would find it back. But I just feel like he's lost a little bit of his mojo. And Nouman Ali has just been very tidy, and he's got a lot of wickets. And no offense to someone like Jack Leach, but he's not like Jack Leach who's come in and got done okay. Like, he's actually done very well as a left-arm spinner. So I think they need to potentially look at that, especially if they're not going to utilize Yasir Shah. Like, if for example they hardly used him in this test match, as you said. So if that's the case, then why play him when Nouman Ali can bowl you the overs that Yasir Shah did and a lot more economical? Let's be honest. So I think that's kind of where I'm at with that. Let's then touch. Go on.
Just quickly on to, Zahid Mahmood's with the squad, right? He's a leg spinner if you want to
You
try
love Zahid
him,
Mahmood.
right? No. It's just it's an option. I'm not saying play him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play him. I'm just saying if you're gonna go for a leg spinner, why not go for Zahid Mahmood? At least his googly is quite sharp. Yasir Shah's googly isn't great either right now. His leg spinner doesn't spin much either.
He's bowling top spinners.
He's Anil Kumble, but a shorter version. So it doesn't really help with the bounce either. So that's the issue I've seen with Yasir Shah over the past couple of years. And going back to Yasir Shah over and over again, it's not helping Pakistan. It's not helping Pakistan.
No. I think he's fallen into bad habits, actually. I think I remember it's probably quite a few years ago now. We're talking maybe 7-8 years. He came and bowled, obviously, against England here. And Shane Warne was saying, look, I'm trying to work with him because they're quite good mates on turning the ball more because he bowls too quick, he bowls too flat, and he doesn't get enough purchase of the pitch. And Yasir Shah basically was basically just trying to target LBW bowled and not being patient. And he's always trying to bowl wicket-taking delivery, bowl the quicker one, straighter one, slider, the top spinner, googly, but there weren't many stock balls in there. And eventually he slowed it down a little bit and he started to get the ball to turn more and get more revs on the ball. But it feels like he's gone back into that bad habit, which, unfortunately won't put him in good stead going forward. In terms of the choices, then you were quite strong on the fact that they should have bowled Yasir Shah instead of Fahim Ashraf, or the spinner, because it was turning a bit more. In this form, though, do you think it would have made much of a difference? Yasir Shah bowling more, and considering we only lost by 1 wicket and there were some drop catches, I mean, is it just a case, or do you think it's maybe just easy in hindsight for us to say it?
I think it's probably easy in hindsight, if I'm truly honest. But the reason why I'm thinking the Yasir Shah approach is because Pakistan did not utilize any other spinners. If they'd utilized someone else, then I would have said use them. But Pakistan didn't think of anyone barring Yasir Shah as a spinner. And the end result was he bowled 3 overs, right? That guy bowling 3 overs on day 4 it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense from a test cricket perspective. And that's why I think Yasir Shah should have been given an option. Yes, he's not great at the moment. His form's out of it. But maybe that could have been the boost that he needs. Maybe that's the thing that he needed. Say, oh, we back you. Get us a wicket now. Get us the wicket. Because everyone's bowling seam. Everyone's bowling seam. 4 bowlers bowling seam. And then you have a spinner who can turn just a bit, who can bowl googly, top spinner, as you said, can potentially bowl wicket-taking deliveries. So the end result would be that the batsman, especially the lower order, is going to struggle. If you remember South Africa, right? When South Africa toured Pakistan, Yasir Shah came in, got that last wicket, and Pakistan won the match, right? Because they weren't expecting the spinner to be bowling at that time, So that's the reason why I would say Yasir Shah. But to be honest, it is more hindsight than anything. At the time, I was like, they just need to bowl Hassan Ali and Shaheen Afridi.
Yeah, agreed. I think Hassan Ali and Shaheen Afridi were on a track which, to be honest with you, was quite different to the track at Lords for India, England. It was a low-scoring affair, and I think we kind of thought that was going to happen. I was a bit ambitious, and I said I think maybe we'll be able to bowl them for less than 217 in their innings. We did do quite well, but eventually we just let it slide a little bit. Jason Holder batted really well, and Craig Brathwaite obviously with a 97 as well. I guess let's talk a bit about West Indies because we have to, and I'm sure subscribers like Reno will be very happy and be looking forward to this segment of the video. So, I mean, look, what can I say?
All I can say is there's a few players who need to be mentioned when we talk about West Indies in this particular match. You have to talk about Craig Brathwaite's 97. All right. Yeah. He set the game up for West Indies. We have to talk about Jason Holder, not just with the bat, but also with the ball.
Yeah.
And we have to talk about Kemar Roach and Jayden Seales, right?
Yeah.
Jayden Seales, the youngest West Indian to get a 5 in Test cricket. What is he, like 19, 20 years old?
So good.
Right? He's so quick as well. He's just throwing really well. That's the thing from the West Indies standpoint. They don't have Shannon Gabriel, but Seales has come in and kind of not cemented his play, but basically showed them that, oh, you don't need Gabriel in the side anymore.
You don't need Alzari Joseph. You don't need Gabriel,
Oh, Shane Thomas even, right? Players who've been playing for the past 3-4 years. They don't need to play. It's just Seales comes in and bowls like a boss. And then Kemar Roach, not just with the bat, that 30, that was very crucial. But with the ball, he's
so
Aaron,
good.
Yeah, he's metronomic with his lines, as Aaron, the cricket connoisseur would say, right?
Can I say something though? How good is Kemar Roach? And I don't know what you think, but he is gravely underrated. In my eyes, he is a great for West Indies. And I genuinely think, if we're talking about fast bowlers now, he's in the top 10 easily. I don't know if he's in the top 5, but maybe he is, but we just don't give him enough credit because he doesn't get enough airtime. If you watch him bowl, like he swings the ball both ways at pace. He bowls full, he bowls quick. As you said, he bowls metronomically as well. He always gets wickets. He is just incredible. I think his stats are just second to none in terms of seamers for West Indies in this generation. What are your thoughts as someone who's obviously a massive bowling advocate and someone who's a massive fan of seeing Stump's cartwheel, which he clearly did to Imran Butt in that first innings, absolutely cleaned him up through bat and pad. But yeah, what do you think of him? I mean, I think he's so underrated.
He is underrated. But the good thing is that means that whenever he performs, everyone raves about him, right? And the end result is he's got, I was just checking, 228 Test wickets in 66 games. He has an average of 27. His strike rate is less than 60 for a guy who plays in West Indies, plays all around the world, right? He's not one of those, no offense to Chris Wokes. He's not Chris Wokes. Chris Wokes plays in England, doesn't play many other places in the world, right? Unfortunately. So Kemar Roach plays everywhere, and his overall average is 27. His strike rate is around 50. He's so good with the ball. As you said, swinging it both ways. He's got a killer bouncer. He doesn't have that pace anymore because of the age factor, but line and length just gets him. And the end result is he's still, for the past, 6 years, he's probably West Indies' best bowler pace-wise, for sure.
Yeah. He used to be rapid back in the day, but the issue was that he was a bit erratic. I remember he used to play all 3 formats and he used to get slapped around a little bit. But he's obviously now just become a test bowler. But yes, his pace is, as you said, it's diminished a little bit. But he bowls quick enough. I mean, he can get up to the mid-80s at kind of a touch. So, but he's not bowling those 90-plus mile-per-hour deliveries that we used to see as well. And then Jayden Seales, I mean, we have to talk about him. A man of the match, 8 wickets as well. As you said, 19 years old. And it kind of reminded me of, and it's a bit sad to say, Naseem Shah breaking onto the scene. When Naseem Shah broke onto the scene and no one really knew, who's this guy? We don't really know what he's about. And he was just fresh. He was eager. He was fearless. And he just ran in and bowled wheels and just tried to bowl aggressively and get wickets. And that's exactly what Jayden Seales did. Like in the first innings, for example, he went for just over 4 and over, which is pretty expensive, but he picked up 3 wickets. And the second one, again, went for economy of 3.51, so one of the most expensive bowlers out of them, but picked up 5 wickets. So he probably will go for some runs, but he's got that wicket-taking ability. So what do you think about him?
The thing with aggressive bowlers is the captain probably tells them, doesn't matter if you go for 4 and over, 5 and over, as long as you pick up wickets. Thing is, if you compare it to Naseem Shah, we've seen Naseem Shah go for 6 and over of like 15 overs that he bowls, right? But he's bowled what, 13 overs, went for 55 runs or something like that, and picked up those 5 very important wickets for West Indies in that final innings, but also picked up 3-4 wickets in that first innings. He's got 13 wickets already in Test cricket, and he's a very exciting prospect. It's a good comparison you made there with Naseem Shah. I'd actually compare him to Ollie Robinson, to be honest. The way Ollie Robinson's kind of burst on the scene, for lack of a better term, for England, he's picked up almost 15 wickets or whatever it is.
In terms of impact.
Yeah, in terms of impact. That's exactly what Seals has done. And again, because he's West Indian, because they don't play India, England, Australia that often, this debut is going to be underrated, or these new early performances in his career are going to be underrated until, he goes absolutely massive, like, Walsh or Ambrose or anyone like that, for sure. But yeah, the end result is, I think Jayden Seals is very, very talented, and I'm glad that he's finally playing for West Indies. I heard of him about a year ago, and he's finally been debuted. He's probably a pretty exciting prospect for ODI cricket as well, because he's that wicket-taking bowler. He's got a killer bouncer too. So yeah, Pakistan need to figure out a way to play him, even though he doesn't bowl 90 plus that often. Bowls just about 90, maybe just under. But it's not just about pace. It's also about the fact that he's got that length factor that Pakistan find very, very difficult to face.
Yeah, agreed. He's very effective on these tracks. And yeah, it's funny you said it, I remember actually, I think it was Reno. She kept on saying like Seals has to get on the side. And I was like, who's this? And I remember looking him up and thinking, oh, he looks all right. But I don't know how good he's going to be. And he's coming in and he's just done bits. So he's been really, really good. And how good was Craig Brathwaite? I mean, the 97, right? I mean, we talk about Sibley and Pujara being boring. I don't think he was that boring in the end. I think at the start, he took a long time to get going. But he normally does, Craig Brathwaite. He is a proper gritty test match batsman. 97 from 221, ran himself out. That is a classic. I mean, he would have gone home and literally cried probably. Like, what have I done? Like, he's run himself out on 97. Probably wouldn't have cried. That's a bit of an exaggeration. But he would have been really upset with himself.
Yeah.
But 12 fours, obviously, that in the context of the game, considering they only scored 253, he scored 97 of those runs. I mean, how important was that? I guess in the scheme of things, I thought it was so crucial.
Fazan, just think of it this way, right? He scored 97 in that first innings, right? And if we look at his second innings, he didn't do much. Even then, he was the highest scorer of the match. All right. He's very, very good. He's got the that Pujara factor, as you said. He just likes to stick in there. The issue that I see with Craig Brathwaite compared to someone like, not Pujara, but someone like KL Rahul, who made a very, very good 129 just recently. He started off very slow, but eventually he started to increase his strike rate. Craig Brathwaite doesn't. Brathwaite plays more like Pujara, Sibley, Hamid, even as an example, if we're thinking like recent players. He takes his time and he just keeps building runs upon runs, starts playing as many deliveries as possible. And the only way he was going to get out was a run out, because Pakistan just couldn't get him. And considering the fielding that Pakistan has, unless you're Imran Butt, right? Everyone else just loves to drop catches. And it's been the same way for years, apart from that good like 2-year period between 2017 and 19. Otherwise, Pakistan just drops catches here, there, and everywhere. And if Craig Brathwaite had gotten that 100, I'm sure this wouldn't have been as close of a game that it was.
Yeah, agreed. I think he would have gone on to get some big runs then, I would imagine, as well. And that partnership with Jason Holder, who you mentioned earlier, who's so good. I mean, I don't think he definitely is ranked number 1 all-rounder in Test match cricket. We'll talk about that because I want to get your thoughts on it. But 96 was a partnership between him and Craig Brathwaite in that first innings, and that propelled them into a lead, which in the end was very, very important, considering they only won by 1 wicket as well. Right, let's talk a little bit. Let's go back a little bit onto Pakistan. The reason why I want to is because we haven't touched on it and we have to, is Bob Razam. Now, Bob Razam, obviously, in the first innings, look, let's be honest, you got 30-odd, fine, okay, it happens. It's a new, but then he got 55, right? A very slow 55, but a 55 nonetheless, in pretty trying conditions where Pakistan were under the pump as well. And he was, getting us somewhere. And then, day 4 starts, and the worst possible thing happens. He's in with Fahim Ashraf. And Fahim Ashraf goes, and then Bob Razam thinks, I'm going to switch off now as well. This is an issue, right? In the sense that Obviously, if it's anyone else who doesn't have the potential of Babar Azam, you say, okay, you know what, it just is what it is. But because he is almost, maybe not in Test match cricket, but in other formats, he is up there with the whatever Kohli, Smiths, Williamsons. In Test match cricket, he's yet to probably establish himself as much. And this is probably why, isn't it? It's the lack of concentration. It's not the talent factor.
Yeah, 100%. In terms of his concentration, how many times is there a rain break? There's lunch, there's tea, there's end of the day, start of the day, whatever it is, drinks. Babar Azam gets out within the next few overs because he just loses concentration. He's batting really well, and then there's a break. He's one of the few batsmen I've actually seen this affecting a lot. Like, I can remember at least 6 occasions in the past year where Babar Azam's got out in a test match because of a break. Because he comes back and he's like, I'm going to take some time to settle in, and he gets out straight away. Something similar, and I know I keep comparing the India-England match because that happened at the same time, right? But we saw KL Rahul go into a phase like that. There was a break at the end of the day, and when he came back the next day, he got out in the first over, right? It's something that you need to, as Test cricketers, you need more time at the crease eventually. Even though you've scored X amount of runs, after a short amount of break, you do need time at the crease once again. Need to leave the ball a lot more. That was the 55 or 56 that he scored in that second innings. He should have left that delivery. Like, a lot of deliveries he should have probably left, and he didn't. And he kept playing at him, kept playing at those deliveries. It's very reminiscent of where Virat Kohli is at the moment, right? With his batting, they're just playing balls that they shouldn't be, way outside the off stump sometimes, and it's disappointing, as you said, with the potential that Babar Azam has. But the thing is, can't blame just Babar Azam. Have to put the blame on everyone else as well, because they're not performing up to their potential. If Babar Azam is here and everyone else is here, if Babar Azam performing here, that's still better than everyone else anyway, right? And they're just not performing as well. Fawad Alam played really well in the first innings, but again, got out at a crucial moment where Pakistan was looking to go past 217 or whatever they eventually got. They could have gotten past 250 at one stage. The way Fawad Alam and Fahim Ashraf were kind of batting together.
Fahim Ashraf batted really well in the first innings, didn't he?
Yeah. That's the thing. Fahim Ashraf took his time too, but I'm not complaining about Fahim Ashraf not playing a good innings. I'm complaining about Azhar Ali. He's batting at number 3. He's playing a similar innings, but Fahim Ashraf knows how to switch gears in Test cricket. As long as he takes some time, he's going to get Pakistan some runs. Azhar Ali, unfortunately, just not doing that for Pakistan. And yes, Babar Azam has fallen down the reins in Test cricket. He even knows that. That's the thing. The best thing about Babar Azam is he's like, I've realized that I'm not that good in Test cricket over the past year and a half, but I'm trying to get better. And hopefully he does get better, because Pakistan really needs Babar Azam if Pakistan wants to get to the World Test Championship final, which honestly, if you remember, people are predicting India-Pakistan as a final because Pakistan has the easiest.
I saw that. Yeah.
Right? Even in that case, Pakistan is more likely than not going to lose 2-0 now against West Indies. Go to Bangladesh, lose 2-0. Go to Sri Lanka, lose 2-0. Right? That's what happens with Pakistan. I really don't want Pakistan to do that, but that's the way it works, doesn't it? So hopefully Pakistan needs Babar Azam to perform consistently in Test cricket, and based on that, everyone else kind of gets better as well.
Yeah, the Fawad Alam thing's interesting because I think it was the first time he got to 50 and then converted to 100, which is why I was a little bit of a surprise. But I don't think we can expect him to score 100 every single time he does hit that landmark. However, I agree, like, he obviously needs to keep up his form. I think him and Babar Azam are probably in that kind of level at the moment where Pakistan expect them to get runs because of their form, I guess.
Yeah, just want to talk about one more guy, Mohammad Rizwan, right? I think Rizwan is going into a... do you remember Mayank Agarwal a few years ago when he debuted in Test cricket? He was quite slow, but then he'd play a really good innings. Even when he was opening for India, he was very, very consistent. Then he went to the IPL, and then he started to play really aggressive innings, right? And then coming back into Test cricket, coming back into 4-day cricket, he wasn't as consistent with the bat. Something similar to what I've seen with Mohammad Rizwan. As he started to get more aggressive in T20s and ODIs, not his technique, but basically he's become a bit more gung-ho. He's channeling his inner Shahid Afridi to say, I'm 23 of 30. I'm going to try and hit every single ball for 4 or for 6. And then he gets out. And that's what happened to him in both of these innings.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think before he was very good at just rotating the strike, and he would still be at your 60, 70 strike rate, but just rotating the strike, hitting gaps, right? Not necessarily going for, as you said, the bigger shots. It is. I think we need to remember that it is half of these players, especially someone like Mohamed Rizwan, who has broken onto the scene only in the last 2 years, and he's suddenly become a really pivotal player even for Pakistan in all 3 formats. So to then be able to just transition in and out of formats, considering he plays all 3, and he's a wicketkeeper as well, right, is really, really tough. And he has completely different roles in all 3. He opens in T20s, right? In ODIs, he still hasn't found his feet there, really. He's in the middle order. He doesn't that's the one format he struggles with the most, I think. In Test cricket, he's been fantastic. We said maybe he didn't look that great, but he still scored 23 and 30. That's not terrible, right? That's our average of 25 or whatever in this Test match. So, not amazing by standard. Sorry?
Nothing. Go on.
And, but yeah, I think let's hope that he doesn't fall off a cliff a little bit on the batting side in Test cricket, because we definitely need him. And Fahim Ashraf, I think, it's just showing his worth, I think, in that number 7 position. I think the issue we have is then we have a pretty long tail. Yasir Shah can bat, Hassani can bat, Shaheen Afridi kind of, but they're not the same as some of the other teams that we have in there. But yeah, to finish up on then, I think it's pretty obvious your player's going to be of the match. It's going to be Jayden Seales, I'd assume.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I'm not going to ask you that. But what I'm going to ask you is, Jason Holder, I'll put you on the spot. Is he the best Test all-rounder in the world?
Right now? As of this moment? Yeah. I would say he's in the top 3. There. That's how you bypass the question.
No. What number is he? Because realistically, right, you've got him.
Stokes and Jadeja and Shakib Al Hasan. Those are the 4.
Yeah, those are the 4, right?
Okay, so it's one of those guys. So definitely, yeah, one of those 4 is the best all-rounder in the world.
Why? Is it because you don't think it's Ravi Jadeja, but you don't want to say that?
I would like it to be Ravindra Jadeja, but I don't think Jadeja is number 1 right now. It's between Shakib Al Hasan or Jason Holder for me.
Yeah,
I think even Stokes in Test cricket, he's great, fantastic, all that stuff. But a lot of Stokes' performances, I'm just thinking 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
Not much in 2021 from Ben Stokes. Yes.
Not super consistent.
Yeah, exactly. So for that reason, I think it's Holder or Shakib Al Hasan as the best Test all-rounder in the world. And then, Jadeja close somewhere behind that. And I'm not going to rank him, but all I'm saying is Jason Holder, pace bowling all-rounder, I would say Jason Holder for sure, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take it as you said, Holder, Shakib Al Hasan, and Ravi Jadeja. That's how I'm going to take it as your top 3.
Not said it. You've said it, Fazan. That's the ranking.
I think that's probably where I'd put it, to be honest with you. I think Ravi Jadeja is a fantastic fielder, and he's a fantastic all-rounder, to be honest with you. But I think Jason Holder, just maybe the impact he gives West Indies maybe is why, but he just does it so consistently. And, there's some all-rounders like Ravi Ashwin, I look at him and I will say, he's a good all-rounder, right? But it's very, very noticeable that his bowling is a better...
Far superior, yeah.
Yeah, it's far superior to his batting, right? Whereas with Jason Holder, in Test match cricket anyway, I don't know which one is better. And that to me, and it's not just, I don't know which one's better and he's not doing anything. He's consistently getting wickets, consistently getting runs, right? And both in a lot of Test matches. And that to me then shows a real, I don't know, it's just a star quality that not many other players have. Because Ben Stokes, like you said,
he's a better
realistically, he's a better batsman. He is.
Yeah.
In Test match cricket, he's 100%. He can get wickets in Test matches, but if you asked anyone, would you rather have Ben Stokes the batter or Ben Stokes the bowler? Everyone would say Ben Stokes the batter. I'm pretty sure. So I think that's maybe why there's a slight difference as well. Okay, I think on that note then, let's wrap it up. I've gone a bit longer than expected. West Indies obviously winning it by a wicket. Before we do wrap up, actually, what's your prediction for the next Test match? How do you think it's going to go?
I think Pakistan's going to come back, make all the relevant changes they need, and definitely win in 3 days. I'm being sarcastic. I don't know.
I know. Honestly, it sounds very...
Yeah, it's very difficult to predict because it is Pakistan and it is West Indies, the 2 most unpredictable sides in cricket. But
2 most mercurial sides.
Yeah, one or 2 changes, considerably the fact that I think Noman Ali should play, and maybe consider the fact that Imran Butt doesn't, maybe South Shakil comes in. A couple of changes, and let's see how that goes. I'd back Pakistan to win the next match for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very tight match, right? I mean, there's no point in us talking about fielding for ages because we've talked about it so many times. Just needs to improve. As simple as that, I think. It's pretty simple to say. But losing by 1 wicket, I think, shows that we were there or thereabouts. Just didn't quite have enough to get over the line. And that's something that can look at, as you said, slight tweaks. But I don't think it's all doom and gloom. It could have been a lot worse, especially at some parts in that test match. I thought, oh no, we're going to get absolutely trounced here. But we showed a bit of, as you said, resilience, and that's good to see because sometimes Pakistan just capitulate, and that wasn't the case. So I'm happy on that sense anyway. Okay, Asjad, thank you very much, though, for being on. I do appreciate it. Fantastic to have you on, as always. Please remember to go over to Asjad's channel, Cricket for Us 2.0. Subscribe to the channel, like all his videos, share them, all that good stuff. And, of course, if you haven't done so here already as well, please do like this video especially, and also subscribe to the channel. And that is all from me. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.
See you. Thanks, man.